Greetings. This is Nazir Amen with Purple Mountain Organics, the website purpletools.net, welcoming you to the 2020 CFSA Virtual Farm Conference. Peace. Before we begin our product demo, I'd like to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. I am a naturopathic doctor and acupuncturist at the Wisdom Path Healing Center here in Tacoma Park, Maryland. I've been practicing in the DC Beltway for the past 22 years. One of the core foundations of natural medicine is that food is medicine. We are living in a society today that is full of chronic disease, which I believe is directly linked to the fact that we are immersed in cheap food grown by an industrialized food system. So we do all that we can in our practice to educate people and inform them about what's going on with the food and how that relates to their health directly. We spend a lot of time with patients educating them about whole foods, about nutrient-dense foods, and local foods, local sustainability, and how that actually relates back to their health. I tell people all the time, in common, gut issues, we often prescribe things like probiotics. And I tell people, if you really ate food from a good source of living soil, you probably would not need that probiotic that you're taking. So we really started Purple Mountain Organics as a way to help people grow their own food. It has sort of morphed into helping farmers be innovative and in their own techniques of growing food. And in the past, it's been 16 years since we've been doing this. There's a lot of innovation in terms of our thinking as natural and organic farmers, in terms of transitioning into a system that has more to do with bringing our soils back to life and really helping us be more sustainable in our practice. Ultimately, the health of our society is directly related to establishing smaller, more sustainable, and ecologically sound farming plots as an alternative to the mass-produced industrial agricultural system that we live in. All right, that said, we're going to start with our tool demo. New to us in 2020, we are paper pot transplanter dealers, importing directly from Japan. Hopefully we can save you some prices by shipping to you from the East Coast. We are also very excited about new cultivating tools that we brought in from Japan called the Q-Ho. We'll show you those, and then we'll move on to some of the traditional tools that we've been selling. I hope you enjoy. Peace.
Cool. This is the paper pot transplanter. Ideally, you'd have in mind where you want to plant and where on the bed you want to plant. I like to bring it in and start getting the shoe down into the soil before you're even in the bed, so you're using as much space as possible. And I'll just bring it forward, then it's sort of set, your shoe is down on the ground. You can grab your tray of transplants. We have beets here. Make sure you water them in thoroughly and use any inoculants or fertilizers that you want to add.
So what's the orange? Yes.
This is a ramp so that the chain will come up out of the tray and into the transplanter. So you'll push it down in the front and then slide it underneath. If your transplants are root bound, which can happen, it's a little difficult, but these are fine. We try to do a one-person operation here using the paper pot. Sometimes that's just how it goes. So you'll pull your chain out, you'll hold it in the ground, and using your other hand, you'll push the plant transplanter forward, burying and anchoring the end.
Did you got me?
And then you make sure you're lined up with the row on the bed. Sometimes we'll use a gritter to set the spacing. With beets, it's easy because it's just 3 rows, and you pull it along. You'll want to be mindful of the depth setting. This is a little bit too deep.
So where's your depth setting?
Raise it just right here. It's a pretty wide range. We usually run the 4th one down, and it seems to work well for most crops. Beets, you can go a little deeper. I sort of like it when they're deeper because then you'll have soil around the root and you'll have a nicer crop. And you pull it along and you just monitor the depth of the planting, and once you've done a few thousand trays, you can get pretty fast at it. Cool. I think the most important thing, if you want to be efficient with the paper pot, is having an efficient layout. Chefs call it mise en place. So we have a big table. We have a bin with all of our paper pot chains. We use 6-inch and 2-inch. We'll bring in all the trays we need to use for particular seating. And we have a lot of these spreader frames. I think we have 7 of them. So we can stretch 7 chains at once, fill them with soil, and seed them. It just makes it a lot more efficient as you go through this. To start, you put out your tray. You just grab your tray, take the spreader frame with the forks facing up, and then you have your spreader bars to stretch the chain, your paper pot chain. And my rule is that I have the identifier on the right hand side closest to me, and then I'll insert the spreader bar, and then I'll go to the other side and do the same thing. It helps to hold this down, otherwise it can fold up a little bit as you first start sliding it through. Once your bars are in, you just pull it out and you place it onto the hooks. Slide out the bars, flip it over, set it to the side, grab your next tray, another frame, another set of chains, paper pot chains. Slide your bars through, set it down, and you'll repeat this for as many trays as you need. I like to push it down so that the bottom of the chains is against the bottom of the tray. And you can just stack them here. If your trays are wet, the chains will absorb that water and start to unravel. So you may only want to do 4 or 5 at a time unless your trays are dry, in which case you could stack as many as you wanted. From here, you just bring it over to your soil. I like to get pretty much as much soil as I can into the chains. And you want to let it fall in naturally so that your chain doesn't deform. So I'll just cover the whole thing and make sure they're filled, and then I'll start working it down into the chain and packing the soil in. They're small cells, so you want to get as much soil and as much nutrition as possible for your plants. The edges always need a little bit more, and you just keep working it.
What will happen if you don't get enough soil in the cells?
The soil will compact as you start to water it, and then you have an even smaller cell for the roots to explore and get nutrients from. For me, it's mostly about making sure that the plants are going to have even and adequate nutrition, and we pick soils that will provide that in this size of a cell, which is pretty small. It's 264 cells. So you fill it, shake off the excess, and then you'll stack it on your table. Grab your next one.
All right, thanks, Common Root Farm. Here are some finished trays. Our prices on the paper pot system are the same prices offered by other vendors. We have prices on individual units as well as kits. Please contact us for more information. Since 2014, when we began experimenting with small-scale grain production, specifically drought and rice production in the Mid-Atlantic, we noticed there wasn't much equipment around to support small-scale grain production. So when we looked around the world at different cultures that were growing rice, we noticed that the Japanese had a good localized system of rice production, which included harvesting, drying, all the way to the market. So we began with hullers and stone removers and other equipment necessary to get rice to the table, and that led to motorized equipment like these harvesters that you see being imported. So over the years, we've imported several pieces of equipment for ourselves and for other farmers. There are definitely pros and cons, but we sort of navigated the rules and figured out how to get certain equipment in. So if you are interested in any equipment like this, or think that it could help you out, we're definitely open to a discussion. We've brought in cultivators, sprayers, bean harvesters, different pieces of equipment. So again, if this is something that interests you, please feel free to reach out to us. So next up, I'd like to talk to you about something that we're really excited about, which is this Q-Ho cultivating system. This is a 4-row cultivator here. Basically, the Q-Ho system is based on Torgentine weeders. They rely on the Torgentine weeders to do the in-row weeding. So you have a system of straight shanks in the front, followed by a sort of spider-like weeder behind it, breaking the crust of the soil, and then you have 2 sets of Torgentine weeders. So this is the system that we're using for wheat, and it's good for crops that are 8 to 18 inches apart. This is the Q-Ho 2-row S3 cultivator. The S3 is for the smaller tractors. The GL models are for 3-point hitch tractors. These units feature a more aggressive Torgentine weeding system. You have 3 sets of Torgentine weeders, more aggressive from the front towards the back. Along with those do the in-row weeding, we have a set of tine weeders or basket weeders doing the between-row weeding, and you have S-tines breaking the ground, along with a set of crust breakers that break the ground in front of the Torgentine weeders that do the in-row weeding. These systems work really beautifully for us this year in our beans and in the corn that we grew. We would love to help you configure a system that might work for your farm. The catalog is on our website. There's some hand units in there for those of you who might be interested. We're working and collaborating with companies like Tillmore to help bring these weeders to the market. This here you see a Tillmore plastic weeder at work, and we're going to move on to the Jang seeder. This is a JPH4. 4-row precision seeder. The Jang is great for small seeded crops. So we are offering free shipping on all Jang seeders during the conference. This is a JP3 precision seeder. So basically we're in a hoop house here planting some beets. The way the Jang works is that you have your seed hopper, which is a contained enclosure, so water can't get in here, and you can move your seed around. You take this off, put your seed in. We have our seed roller in here, and basically the seed roller is changed out based upon the size of the seed that you're going to use. Here we're planting beets, and this is the chute that the seed drops down through. So we put this hopper here in here, and then we can adjust our spacing. So here we've adjusted our spacing to about a 2-inch spacing for the beets that we're planting. Basically you have a set of sprockets on the machine here, and you would change out the sprockets depending on the rate. So here we have a 24-hole roller. We're going to use a size 11 and actually a size 13 in the rear and a size 11 in the front to get a 2-inch spacing on our beets. So once we change out those sprockets, and it's simply taking one sprocket on and the other one off at the same time, so they go on and off easily, and you can just switch out your chain and put it right back on there. So we've just actually done that, and we're going to put this back, and then the next step would be, if you haven't, to basically adjust the depth rating, and you can adjust the depth rating using a size 13 millimeter metric wrench, basically to adjust this setting up or down, and then you can also adjust your spacing in terms of closest. This is a JP3. You can upgrade this unit by adding 2 more hoppers in here and make it into up to 5 rows of planting. We've taken JP3s in the past, and Jang makes a double row seeder that you could use to basically turn the JP3 into a 6-row planter if you're doing something like a mesclun mix. So we have our spacing, we have our depth adjusted, we have our spacing in between, and we're all set to go. Next, we'll go to some basic hand tools. This is the Coleman hoe with the 70-degree angle versus the swan neck hoe. The Coleman hoe's angle is designed to help you keep your back straight while you're working. Years ago, we met Elliot Coleman at VABF in Virginia. He mailed us his original, or the remnants of his original hoe that he brought back from Europe during his trips there in the late 60s and early 70s. We were able to send this off to DeWitt in Europe, and they made this version of the hoe. So we offer a DeWitt Coleman hoe. Again, this angle helps us keep our back straight, maintain our posture, which increases endurance and prevents us from injury. So this is actually a great tool. Either one of these is a great tool. You can see the angle on this regular swan net hoe is a little bit different. This angle, according to Mr. Coleman, will after a while of working this, you'd be more apt to sort of bend forward, whereas the Coleman hoe will help you keep your back straight while you're working. Other popular hoes based on the Coleman design are the collinear hoe and the wire weeder. Both the collinear hoe and the wire weeder are great for weeds in their thread stage, along with the oscillating hoe or stirrup hoe, shown here in 3.5 inch, 5 inch, and 7 inch versions. The hook and crook, heron, and honeybee weeders, these are made by Horridge Enterprises in New York State. Similar to the stirrup or oscillating hoe, it is both a push-pull weeder, except it's on a fixed blade, which makes it much more durable and sturdy. So it's great for backyard gardeners or weekend farmers. If you let those weeds get up big, then this is a great tool to have. The diamond hoe is a long-handled hoe with a P grip. This hoe is really great if you have long rows that you're working with. This goes right under your soil or under your mulch, and it's a really fast weeder. The tine rake weeder shown here is great for beet and carrot beds or any small greens. It's also great if you are growing greens and after cutting you need to clean your bed for regrowth. This is a great tool for that. This tool comes in 3 different sizes. This is the largest size shown here. The cobra head, this is a long-handled cobra head, and it also comes in a short-handled version. But this is a great weeder. We use it a lot in our garlic beds, and it's great for raised beds. This is another good tool to have, like one tool to have to use for gardening. Here's the TerraTech wheel weeder. This wheel weeder has a wheel up front. This is a dual wheel weeder. They come in both single and dual in a 5 inch, 7 inch, and I think an 11 inch, either 10 or 11 inches. So the front wheel is breaking the crust of the soil, and underneath that you have an stirrup knife or oscillating knife, which is undercutting. This is great for weeds in the thread stage. And the beauty of this is it's similar to a wheel hoe, but only the forward motion. There's no back and forth motion. Here is a Johnny's U-bar wheel hoe. This wheel hoe comes with accessories that include a disc harrow gang, hilling plow blades, beet knives, and a set of sweeps, like angled sweeps that come underneath and work really nice. So this is another popular tool, the Sabotin or Sabotin harvest scissors. They're really ergonomically designed to allow you to do a lot of harvesting and minimize the risk of overuse injuries. So, all right, we've shown you a lot of tools. These are just a few of the useful tools that we carry. We also carry Felco ARS pruners and loppers, Felco, ARS, and Silky saws. These are some of the best pruning and horticultural equipment available. I should also mention that all the DeWitt tools, which are made in Holland, they come with a lifetime warranty, and we replace them without any questions asked. All you have to do is just pay the shipping or meet us at a conference, and we're welcome to swap it out for you. So these are some of the latest and most innovative tools, from the seeding and cultivating equipment to sort of standard organic farming tools. We carry some of the highest quality equipment out there. If you have any questions, you please contact us through the CFSA app, or you can contact us by email. We'd be more than welcome to answer any questions you might have.